I guess we're all doing better than Diddy. Oh, what a week. All right, if you don't know, I'll try to bring you up to speed very quickly. Basically, Diddy has been the devil for decades. And it's really only this year that everything's sort of coming to roost, right? It sort of started with a lawsuit brought by his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. And, in the lawsuit is detailing horrific things you will not, you will feel sick if you read the lawsuit. And Diddy said it was all a lie. Just nothing but disgusting lies about his character, and he settled the lawsuit the next day. I don't know about you, but I've never been lied on so hard that I was like, you better stop lying about me. I will pay you as much as you want for you to stop telling me all the stuff I supposedly did. I want to make sure that this is, how much does the check need to be? It won't be in escrow. It'll be in a check form in the morning. But I will pay you as much as it takes for you to stop lying before people start looking at what you said because everybody else is saying it. Well, no, it's crazy. And even more recently, more allegations and more investigations have been going into Diddy being alleged. Legally, you have to say it. Being an alleged sex trafficker and everything, to the point where, this week, the FBI raided all of his houses. All of his houses at once, just to make sure, every single one at the same time, make sure he wasn't house hopping or anything, just going everywhere. They grabbed all the homes and the homies and they pulled everybody outside, and it was truly astounding to watch, because if you've ever watched, I watch a lot of news, so I remember the Roger Stone raid. Anytime the FBI or Homeland Security does a raid, it's a weird hierarchy that you notice. Because they'll show up to do the raid, right? So FBI or Homeland Security, they'll be fitted up, right? Top to bottom, they got the AR-15, they got the vest on, full body armor, they got the boots, they got the helmet, and then sometimes they actually have backup. Backup is SWAT. So then SWAT is also there dressed like SWAT, and we know what SWAT is dressed like. And then it will just be the regular police. And it kind of made me feel bad for the local police, because imagine you show up to work and all your coworkers look like Call of Duty that day. And you just have to show up with your chest. That's unfair to them. If I was a cop, I'd be like, y'all ain't got any extra ARs in the trunk or anything. I can't hold something. Y'all just showed up all prepared. Y'all said he dangerous. You know what? I'm gonna wait next to the car. That's what I'm gonna do. Y'all, this is bull. I'm not doing. And truly, watch any FBI raid. All the local police are next to the cars in the street. They're like, no, they gonna get them. They gonna get them. Oh, you better watch out, because they coming. All right. But yeah, they raided all that dude's houses at one time, pulled people out, were interrogating people, were trying to look for stuff in the houses. And meanwhile, a lot of people have been waiting on Diddy's downfall for a long time, so they track his movements. And I want to take a quick second, because a lot of people, as this is mainly a black thing, knowing about Diddy. It feels like the world didn't know. But black people, we knew. We were like, nah. Something happening with him that seems off. I don't know if I loved that either. That's just been us for 2 decades with Diddy just being like, did y'all see? And so a lot of other people are catching up. So then there are things, when anything like this comes out, there are things where people ask, why is everybody talking about it now, coming forward now, stuff like that. I want to be clear. Diddy is not like a Harvey Weinstein in that way, right? Because with Harvey Weinstein, everyone started coming forward, and then people were like, why didn't y'all say something sooner? Look at him. We would have believed you. Like, we don't do a good enough job of believing women, but with Harvey, I'd be like, whatever y'all say he did, he did. I can just see it from his build that he did whatever. But Diddy's a very different thing. Diddy's scary. A lot of people are scared of Diddy. And you want to know one of the reasons why people are scared of Diddy? Because of where he comes from. There's gangsters, then there's gangsters. Okay? Diddy's dad has ties to Frank Lucas. If you don't know Frank Lucas is who Denzel played in American Gangster. That's who Diddy's dad hung out with. That's who Diddy's dad did business with. So when you ever rewatch American Gangster and you see that scene when Frank Lucas, Denzel, stands up and in the middle, broad daylight, middle of the sidewalk, a dude disrespects him and he pulls out a gun and he shoots him in the head and kills him in front of everybody because he knows nobody will say anything. That's who Diddy's dad ran with, right? That's who taught him his like ABCs and stuff. You know what I mean? When you see that scene, that's a bone-chilling scene because it happened. That happened. He did that. He killed someone broad daylight because he knew no one around would say anything, right? So when you see that scene and you see Denzel do that, just know that one of the extras in the background, at least one of those kids, is Diddy. That's terrific, you know? And that's why people are getting so scared of him, because we know that he just moves differently, you know what I mean? And a lot of people have been waiting on his downfall for a long time, so when the FBI was raiding, people were like, where is Diddy? And you know how these kids are now? They're very smart. They can track anything. They track Diddy's plane. And so while the FBI is raiding all of his homes at one time, Diddy's plane is leaving America. And I don't mean getting fueled up. I mean, the plane is over just blue. That's the ocean. The plane is gone, right? And the plane is headed for Antigua. Now, Antigua is still extradite. So a lot of people are like, why would he be going over to Antigua? Then other people said, hey, maybe he's landing in Antigua because everybody knows that's his plane. He's going to land in Antigua. He's going to get on a friend's smaller plane. And he's going to go to a country that doesn't extradite like Bali, right? So then that plane lands in Antigua, it comes right back. When it lands, turns out Diddy was never on the plane. He was in Miami the whole time. This man is a terrible rapper and an incredible villain. I've been thrown for a loop consistently with him. Like, this man should be in a James Bond movie. You know, a lot of people are just waking up to how Diddy is, you know. We knew. You know how you know that we knew? Diddy's the only black billionaire we didn't root for. It's a very big deal when you get a black billionaire. We're always like, oh yeah, we did it. You know, I remember when that guy, you know that guy that gave the commencement speech at Morehouse, and at the end of the speech he said he was going to pay for all the kids' student loans. That moment went viral. It was crazy. Kids were crying and everything, jumping up, screaming. I looked it up. I found the guy. His name was Robert Smith. Turns out he's a billionaire. He didn't give me any money, but I was at home like, we got it. Diddy became a billionaire. We were like, good for you. I don't know about y'all, but I absolutely love when home drama spills out into the world. You know what I mean? I don't watch a lot of reality television, so I love when a real life couple just can't take it anymore. You know what I mean? Like they have to have it out, and they have to have it out now. And now is here. And here is where I am. So I get a free show. You know? I think it happens a lot in New York City because we don't have space. Like, y'all have real homes here. Y'all can be like, we will discuss this later. In New York, we don't have that. We're like, I want to argue in private at home, but home don't have no elbow room. I want to argue where I can move a little bit because I'm passionate with my movements. Now, if I'm arguing at home, one time I was arguing at home and I went like this to be like, oh, wait, just like to hold it up. And then I hit my elbow and there's no way to look right when you just stand there like, so sometimes couples just have to have it out in that moment, And I was walking. I try to do this at least once a week. I was on a walk with no AirPods in, right? Just really like be around in the world, And I think it's an important thing to do because it opens you up to what's happening around you. And I would have missed this had I had my AirPods in. I was walking, and as I'm walking, I see this dude bust out of the door of his house, right? He's running down the stoop of his brownstone, no shirt on, anything, looking terrified, like, look. And so I turn and I see what I can only imagine is his girlfriend or wife running behind him. And I was like, all right, this seems awesome. Let's see how it goes. And she has something in her hand, but it doesn't look like a gun, so I'm like, I'm willing to stay and see this through. Because if it's a gun, people get upset, they miss, now she done shot me, I'm bleeding out, I'm not even part of your love. I'm laying there holding my wound, y'all done worked it out, like, this could all be for nothing. It's just she's holding something, but I can't see what it is, right? And as he's running down the stoop, she runs down with him, and she gets to this specific step, and then she goes like this, right? She goes like this, and then a piece of what she was holding flies out and hits him in the back, and he goes, ah! And then she lets go of the other thing that she was holding. It slides down the stairs, and when it slides down, it's close enough for me to see. And when I look, it was the sleeve of a Hot Pocket. This woman done burned the hell out of this man with a Hot Pocket. In the known universe, there are about 4 states of matter, right? There's gas, there's liquid, and there's solid. There's also plasma. Now, plasma can reach a temperature of about 45,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and just under that. Close second is Hot Pocket juice. Hot Pocket juice must be studied. This will burn your soul. Hot Pocket juice is far too hot. It is absolute insanity, okay? Because we've all been there. We've all been there where you were hungry, you heat up the Hot Pocket, that's going to be quick, and then you went ahead and you put it higher than the instructions say, because you know when you follow the instructions, the middle cold. So then you put it at least 2 minutes higher than the instructions say, because you got a different type of microwave. Your microwave doesn't work like the box says. And so you put an extra 2 minutes, but now we're into heated territory that no one, even the people at the company, are aware of, right? And then you pull the Hot Pocket out, you hold it by the sleeve, and you wouldn't even be in this situation if you could just be a gentleman and wait, right? But you're hungry, you're greedy, you can't help yourself, and so you do blow. You give it a good try too. You blowing the bread. You're not doing anything for that juice inside. That juice is still bubbling like lava, waiting to bust out. And so then you take your first bite, and because you're hungry, because you're being greedy, you bite too hard, the juice pops out, it hits your lip, and you go, ah! now you coughing because steam coming out of your mouth because you got the corner bread in your mouth with all the juice burning everything. Burning teeth. Just burning. Inexplicably, just burning and burning and burning. It's terrible. This woman was running after this man. We don't know what he did. I didn't stay for an interview. This woman was running down the stairs after this man and had the Hot Pocket sleeve in her hand and reared back like an ancient weapon. Reared back. And flung the Hot Pocket out. Flung it like she had done it before. Like, she must be burning him weekly to have this sort of aim. If this was a game show, I could never sling it and hit what I wanted to hit. And she hit, not only did she hit him in the middle of the back. She hit him in the spine. So it's in just enough of a position that he can't really reach it. Like it's not here, it's not here. Like this man is fighting for his life right now. She gave him 32nd degree burns. And my man's like, ah! And I want to help, but I'm like, I'm not going to burn my fingers. Like, and then I had never stopped walking the entire time, but I did take off into a brisk jog. Because as he was holding the railing of his stoop, I saw her lift another Hot Pocket. I was like, let me leave before I witness a murder.
I was talking to one of my friends, and he said that he knew, the first time he knew his neighborhood was broke was when the bank closed. It's a pretty good indicator. The bank holds that branch's money, and that branch is falling off. And said he went to the bank. And, he basically just straight up asked the teller, he's like, hey, do you know why this branch is closing? And she was like, are you here to make a deposit or withdrawal? And he was like, withdrawal. And she was like, yeah, that's why. That's it in a nutshell. That's exactly what's happening. You do enough of that, and then there is no bank. We're just kind of a building with a little bit of parking. I don't know, I look back at the ups and downs I've had in my life. I've been broke off and on my entire life, and there's a weird solace sometimes in being broke at the right time. Everyone thinks that the security is in having means and having money, but sometimes not being a part of the circus is its own solace in a weird way. You know that it's bad when you're really shopping at the dollar store. There are things anybody could use at the dollar store. You need a fly swatter, you might as well run up in the dollar store. You know what I mean? You need a dustpan, might as well run up in the dollar store. But if you're really shopping at the dollar store, things are not great. I would go in the dollar store for stuff you shouldn't even be buying from the dollar store. They sell it, but even the cashier look at you like, you sure? I'm talking about where you have to get your meat at the dollar store. I knew I was in a bad situation when I went to a dollar store and was looking at that meat in the fridge, and I was like, because the meat at the dollar store, they don't go into specifics. You go to Kroger, Walmart, you go to Target, you go to any of these places, and you'll see the brand of the meat, and then you'll see, all of the little no preservatives ever, completely organic, all the stuff. When you go to the dollar store and you buy your meat, it just says the price and it says meat. And you're like, maybe if I don't ask any questions, it can be whatever I think it is. Because then, I also got a lot of stuff at the dollar store, even as a kid, that I look back and I'm like, that probably wasn't the best. Like a good example, if you know, you know. When you shop at a dollar store, especially if you ever got toys at the dollar store, you know that dollar store toys are in a very specific, slightly copyright infringed arena of toy. You know, like you would have a G.I. Joe, but it doesn't say G.I. Joe. It just says soldier. And you buy the soldier, and it even got the setup like a G.I. Joe, like it stands like a G.I. Joe, but the legs a little too short. So some very long arms. I couldn't tell if the arms were long or the legs were short. And it doesn't have like grip action. It says that on the front, grip action. It just has a hole. They didn't make a hand. They made a hole stub. And then this hole stub is what you go ahead and put the little toy gun through. But then they didn't really measure out the gun versus the hand. And so the gun is not in proportion at all. So it looked like this would blow his arm off if he tried to shoot it. But you bring it home and you're playing with it. And you're like, yeah, soldier, get him. And he's like, I'm going to get him. Oh, I'm going to get him. They getting it right now. Trust me. Trust me. Nah, they getting it. Look. Point me over here. Point me over here. No, it was terrible. It was very bad. It was horrible. You know, you would have those dollar store crayons. That's another one. It's a very specific type of drawing as a kid, because those dollar store crayons, they melt in your hand. So you got to be quick with it. You got some imagination. It needs to come out now. You got to put those crayons in the fridge. I remember being around some of these crayon kids being like, your crayon's stale as hell. Y'all don't even freshen up your crayons. That's crazy. That's why your pictures stink. You know what I mean? My pictures smell like leftovers. I remember one of my favorite toys from the dollar store was like a Stretch Armstrong, right? But it was Stretch Armstrong. It would only stretch for like 3 days. Like you only got 3 good. After that, it would get hard. And if you tried to stretch it after it got hard, it would cut your finger open. I don't know what it was made of, but it was the most malleable, unmalleable thing. It was Play-Doh and adamantium together. No, it was crazy. And that's the thing too, is when you're growing up in this situation, for anyone who knows what I'm talking about from experience, then you also know that it's very hard to know that you're broke, especially if you're a kid. It's hard to know if you are surrounded by love. My family loved me so much, so much. They still do. I make it sound like that. Make it sound like there was a falling out. They still love me. But no, I was surrounded by love. I had my grandparents, and my mom, and my dad's love. I had my aunt and my uncle's love. I had my cousin's love. I had so much love around me. And when you're surrounded by that much love, you don't know that you don't have money when you have that much love until you meet somebody who has both. That is a curious experience. Like when you're like, oh, you got both parents and a pool? Okay, I think there can be upgrades to life. I see that now. To me, greed is a paradox, because you want everything. Even if you have more than enough, even if you have so much that what you have is starting to hurt you in the long run. You see it with the way that hedge funds cannibalize whole companies. It's like, okay, everybody made some short-term profit, but now this thing that people used to love doesn't exist. You know? Like you take like a Southwest. You know, Southwest, people used to love Southwest. Bags fly free. Affordable tickets. You just sit wherever. You don't have to wait for the person. Southwest used to be so fire because then you don't have to wait for the person to get to their seat and you don't have to get up for anybody. Do you know what it's like to just be in your seat on the plane? And it's everyone's almost here. There's a couple of stragglers. There's almost nobody coming down that aisle anymore. You even settle in. You're like, oh, I may not have a seat next to me. This may be the promised land. You get so comfortable, you're like, man, I might put my other leg over here. Southwest had a brilliant idea. And the bags were flying for free. Which makes sense. The bags don't know where they're going. Why should I have to pay for this bag to have an experience too? You know? And then greed, and then private equity, and then hedge funds, and then, you know, shareholder meetings, and then dividends. All the things start to creep in, and it's like, maybe we'll stop doing everything that is why everyone likes us. Maybe we'll just be like the other airlines. They make money, but then you actually look at the people who fly Southwest, and they were like, oh, y'all aren't nice enough to be like them, though. Like, your seat doesn't even go back like that. Why would I pay for everything here that I pay for over there? That's crazy. And so then you see people plummet, because they're making decisions based on money, but not money that they need, just more money that they might be able to get. You know? And there's only so much that a business can grow. I understand a startup's passion, and that passion makes sense because the company just started. But after a while, it's like, do you really need to own everything? If the answer is yes, it's like, and they don't say it to us. They say it to each other. You ever get a hold of a recording of a closed door meeting and the way they talk about their own customers? You know, that's why greed is like a paradox to me. You're so greedy that then you end up cannibalizing your own company, your own efforts, yourself. You end up hurting yourself. American greed is another paradox because as much as we know that the millionaires and billionaires maybe got their money in a way that's a little nasty, we also kind of want to be them a little bit. Everybody wants their piece, but we know how bad it is. You know? There are people who I know who want to be billionaires. They aspire to be billionaires. But if you ask them to name like a good billionaire, it's a hard quiz. But they want to be the billionaire because they're like, no, I will be different. How? You know? That to me is like a drug dealer saying, no, I'm gonna be different. Oh, how so? Oh, I'll only like sell drugs to bad people. How will you know that they're bad people? You know, word will get around and they'll buy my drugs and I'll be like, that's a bad guy. No, it's not going to be different just because it's you. That's the trick as well. No, it's different when I do it. It's different when it's me. It's different when it's for me. It's different when it's for my family. Right? So then you hear people talk about recession. That recession is coming, recession is looming. And to be fair, people have said that since the last recession. Every year, I'm not an economist, but every year there's somebody that's like, it's coming. Get ready, batten down the hatches. And so you're in this situation where, you know, people are very worried, and understandably so. Because it's not really about the money. Money is mostly like the conduit. Money's mostly the placeholder. There are people who find money to be a game, and for them, the number is the important thing. How much actual money they can stack and hoard is the real thing. I want to show how rich I am is the real thing. But for almost everybody else, it's about their survival. It's about taking care of yourself. It's about taking care of the people that you love. So when they hear that there's going to be a recession, they're not really thinking like, oh, the number will go down. They're thinking about food. They're thinking about housing. They're thinking about resources. You know, and the only way forward is with other people. We've proven that this thing doesn't work. And by this thing, I'm not just talking about like one specific system. I'm not talking about like capitalism. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about we've proven that a true rat race does not work. I can't believe the world watched Squid Game and was like, yeah, I think I could win the pot. The pot is the problem. You know? And then I think the other problem is that if you are pitted against people, if you're pitted against the other 330 so million Americans, then yeah, the odds look insurmountable. But when you see how many people are actually in your situation, and you see how many millions of people are just like you, and you put yourself on the same side as them, all of a sudden, all of the weight, it gets a little bit easier. You know? There are people around the world that will never have access to the things that we have access to that make it work. And so sometimes we stress, oh, how am I going to make it work? And it's like the number one way is through community. Your future is your neighbor. There's no other way forward. And I know that can be scary. That's an idea where you have to lay down so much trust at the feet of people that you don't know. That's very scary, because I've had good neighbors and I've had bad neighbors. I've had very bad neighbors. I had a neighbor who stole my trash can. It's the trash can. You could just put your trash in there too. Stole my trash can and lived next to me like I'm not gonna notice my trash can. And he was big too, and I'm pretty sure he sold drugs, so I wasn't gonna take my trash can back. But I was like, I will put my trash in my trash can over here though. Just because you stole the trash can doesn't mean I'm gonna get another trash can. It's a trash can, and trash goes in. You could put your trash over here, but then you wanted to put it in front of your yard. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm sure you have a gun, so I won't make a big deal of it. But I've had bad neighbors, and I've also had incredibly kind, incredibly sweet neighbors. I had neighbors that made any transition period I've been having in my life easier. I remember when I moved to Chicago and I was living in my first apartment, I had a neighbor that knocked on my door. I had been living there for like 2 days, and I didn't have stuff. I'm like this broke kid who just moved to Chicago with like 2 suitcases of like clothes and a couple of other things. And so knocks on my door, and it's like, hey, this older guy, and he's like, hey, I saw that you moved in. If you need anything or you have any questions about the building, just hit me up. I live right there. And I'm thinking he's like the building manager or something. So I'm like, oh yeah, what's your name? And we get to talking a little bit. And as we're talking, I realize he doesn't work for the building at all. This dude is literally just checking on me for the sake of checking on me. And he's like, if you need anything, because I saw, you were having a little trouble, I couldn't have caught up to you, but I was gonna help you up and everything. And I was like, oh, thank you, man. And we didn't see each other often. And I remember the day that I moved out, because I ran into him again. I ran into him and his wife. And he was like, man, I'm sorry to see you go. Because I can tell, we never really got to chop it up or anything, but I could tell that I like the way you move. And you didn't cause any trouble. You were just cool. And I wish I would have knocked on your door a couple more times, right? I never forgot about that guy, because even knowing that there was someone there if I was having a problem, it just made living there on my own a little bit easier. Just in the back of my head, Once again, we didn't even have that many interactions. I only knocked on his door a couple times. And the couple of times I knocked on his door, he needed help too. There was one time where we had in our building a chute for the laundry that nobody used. Nobody ever used it because it's not like it was one person. Do you ever, like, the chute for, this isn't Eloise. Like, it's weird that there was a chute for the laundry because it just went to the floor down there, and you'd have to go down there to wash your own clothes anyway. So I guess if you wanted to save yourself the weight of the trip, you could push all the clothes down and let them get nice and nasty, and then slip through the chute and then hit the ground, and now it's got different stuff on it than the reason that you're washing it. So nobody used it. And nobody used it because it was nasty. And so then one day the actual building manager poured a whole bunch of like bug poison down it to try to like kill some of the bugs that had been living in there. And the bugs were like, you know what? I think we'll go everywhere else. And so then one day I came home and my apartment was just overrun with bugs, and it didn't make sense because I didn't even have stuff. I had a fork, a bowl, like it was kind of like a saucer. It wasn't a plate. It was a plate that you would put a teacup on. I didn't even have dishes to be nasty enough to have all these bugs. So I'm freaking out. I'm killing a bunch of bugs, and then I run over and I knock on his door, and when I open his door, he looks like me. He's like, you too? And both of us just knowing that we're both dealing with bugs was enough to make the whole thing easier. He helped me kill some of my bugs. I helped him kill some of his bugs. And we were both very upset with the building manager. I had another neighbor when I was living this like short little bit in this, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like, it was a house, but it was like, you know how there's it wasn't a duplex. Okay. The house I was living in was like perfectly split in two, right? To make two unlivable houses. Okay? So I wasn't staying there for long, but it was just two completely unlivable houses, right? And I had a neighbor that lived next to me where I moved in, and once again, this older lady, so sweet as could be, knocks on my door, and it's like, hey, I saw that you just moved in. She had baked something, like old school, like out of the movies. She had baked something. She was like, I made you a little some muffins. I know moving is hard. I know sometimes you don't have anything to eat right after you move, so this is for you, right? And I was like, oh, I didn't even know what to do. I was like, oh, thank you so much. And she was like, yeah, you know, I like to help people get their bearings, and just so you know, I just want to be the one to tell you so you don't have to find out on your own. There's a crackhead in the wall. And when you get that type of warning, it does make you look at the muffins twice. One has nothing to do with the other. But I was still like, oh. And she was like, yeah, we thought it was a bird for a long time. And then he started talking. And so if you hear anything in the middle of the night, just pound on the wall a couple times and he'll stop. I was like, okay. All right, okay. And I closed the door, and I sat in silence for the rest of the night, waiting to hear a noise that would never come. It wasn't until like months later I heard some scratching in the wall, and I was like, how does somebody just live with it? And so I knocked on her door, and she came to the door. She was like, you hear him too. And I was like, look, I know you lived here longer than me, but in case it is a bird, maybe we should call animal control. Just throwing it out there, right? And she's like, you can do what you want. I called animal control, and then they could hear the scratching too. And then they went ahead and went on the roof, and they said that they found a slight hole in the roof, and turns out it was a bird. It had been a bird the entire time, and I'm pretty sure it was a bird when she heard it, but maybe she just had the TV on. Maybe she was like, he's talking. Animal control leaves with the bird. I go over, I tell her it was a bird, animal control called the bird, and she was like, thank you so much. Seriously, thank you so much. That has been happening for like 8 months, off and on, and I was positive it was a crackhead. And you know, I guess that's what a good neighbor does. You know, I guess a good neighbor lets you know nobody's in your wall. Because I think fundamentally the toughest thing people are facing right now is like a true way forward where they can trust other people to help them and take care of them. And I can't tell you to just blindly put your faith in people that you don't know, even if they live next to you. But what I can tell you is that most people return energy. Most people give like for like. So if there's a community that you want around you, all you have to do is be its founder. If you are the one knocking on your neighbor's door, letting them know you're here, if they need anything, they'll probably do the same for you. And it's so simple to build community. It's so much more likely that you're gonna build community than you're gonna become a billionaire. Do you know what I mean? Like, both things are incredibly hard to do. They take a lot of hard work and everything, and one of them means everyone will hate you. You know? Because when you're broke as well, the thing that happens, I think, the most often is that we have a real misunderstanding of each other. The rich people that I've met in my life, no rich person I know feels rich. They feel comfortable. Now they'll do whatever it takes to maintain their level of comfort, but they don't feel rich. They're like, no, I'm just comfortable. I'm just chilling. And you show them how much they make, and they're like, yeah. I gotta maintain, you know, I got kids, and then you show them how much the rest of the world makes, and they're like, ooh. Okay, maybe we don't tell anybody how much I make. And the same thing, when you're broke, there's a genuine misunderstanding around the decisions that people make when they're poor, around the way that people think, because there's not the possibility of thinking past tomorrow, because you're not even sure you're gonna get there. Do you know what I mean? When you really don't have means, when you really don't have money, you come off wild sometimes because all your requests are strange, because you're just trying to piece things together just so you can make it to the next day. You know? Like a good example is I used to work at a grocery store, and one time in the break room, we're eating our lunch, and this one dude opened his lunch and then just said out loud to everybody, hey, I made a hamburger at home, but oof, does anybody have a top bun? Sir, they're always sold even. How did this happen? We look at money as paper, right? At least when it's in its physical form, it's this paper thing. But it's more than paper. There's fabric weaved into it. There's linen, there's cotton. It works the same way that society works. There's fabric that weaves all of us together. And there are people who have not been able to participate in the opportunities of making money or making their well-being out of these chances in the market the way that other people have. And so when you tell them that a recession is coming, they're like, oh, a what? Okay. I was already broke. Do you know what I mean? What is a recession to somebody who was on the street the whole time? I guess the best example I can give is one time I was at a party with my friends, and I fell in the pool. And falling in the pool at a party is one of the more embarrassing things you can do when it's not a pool party. If you fall in the pool at a party where people are just sort of standing around the pool and talking, you might as well have fallen off the roof. But I fell into the pool at the party, which is not just embarrassing, it's not just annoying because out now all my clothes are wet and everything. It's terrifying because I can't swim. You know what I mean? I'm not a swimmer in the way that I would like to be, and the way that I would like to be is to be able to survive. And so when it comes to swimming, I'm not only not a fan, I'm not efficient. And so I get in the water, and when you don't swim, and I don't just mean can't swim, I'm saying when you don't swim, like for fun or anything, being surrounded by water out of nowhere is very concerning. I didn't realize I had stepped into the pool until I was in the pool. So now what I feel like has happened is that I turned around and water surrounded me. And so I start doing what I think swimming is innately. I start fighting the water, right? I'm punching and I'm kicking and I'm like, get off me, water, but I'm in the water. But I'm like, get back, I don't want you over here. And that's not how water works. And so I'm sifting through the water, and it's almost like swimming, except I'm staying in place underneath it. So that is drowning. That's what drowning is. When you're swimming perfectly, but you're not going up above and you can't get your head up, you're not actually swimming, you're drowning, and it's also exhausting. You're fighting and you're punching, you're kicking, and you're moving, and you're doing a pretty good job of drowning. If you could get your head above water, this would be swimming. And if you could get your chest up, and you could do that butterfly thing, now you're a swimmer. But I am over here, no more water. Get out of my face, right? So then it takes someone pulling me out of the water for me not to actually drown. And not right after, not soon enough after, but pretty soon after, we leave the party. And not as soon as you would like if you almost drowned. You know what I mean? Like and it's tough too, because like the dude saved you as your ride. So now he's doing you two favors, you know? So then, you know, man saves me, and my buddy pulls me out of the water, and now, you know, we stay an extra 20 minutes because now he's got his MAC points for saving a life in front of everybody. You know? That's what most embarrassing. The only thing more embarrassing than like showing a whole party full of people you can't swim is to be sitting there wet while the person that saved you tries to mac on somebody. Just like, yeah, you know, I do what I can. I do what I can. Try to help out the people, you know, and doing my best. And it's like, also, my band didn't. Look, I'm not necessarily trying to give notes on being saved, but like, my man did jump in the pool and grab me and lift me up and swim me to the shore of the edge of the pool, right? This man just stuck his arm in and kept clawing at me until he got the back of my shirt. That's barely saving. Like, when I tell you that I'm over here, stop it, water, no, I don't want any more. And then he is over here, bow, bow. And he missed like 8 times. So he was punching me in the head. while trying to save my life. And he finally hooks his hand behind my collar and pulls me up the way that a cat sort of lifts its kitten in its mouth. You know what I mean? Just sloppy. And then I'm also still fighting. I don't know what's pulling me up, so I don't know if that's more drowning. I don't know what the effects of drowning feel like. So now I'm not necessarily fighting his hand, but I am still fighting the water. And so if you were on the other side of the pool, it does look like I was drowning. He reached in, dunked me one more time just to be safe, and then pulled me up. Because I don't know that he's trying to help me. But when he finally pulls me up and I'm over here coughing up the water and everything, this man helps me get up out of the pool and then immediately sees the eyes on him and everything, sees the opportunity, and he's like, oh, yeah, you know. I do what I can. Also, I know he saved my life and everything, but also the fact that he didn't need to roll his sleeves up like that. Like that was even more just worthless. Oh yeah, you know, I tried. Now you sitting here wet, just like, can you wrap it up, get the number or don't? And so then me, him, and some other friends head to his car once he's ready to leave, and his car won't start. Waited for nothing. Now, luckily, we were staying at his house, and luckily he did live close enough to the party that we could walk. It was like maybe, I don't know, like a mile and some change. It wasn't crazy. And so we start walking. As we start walking, it starts drizzling. And then it's drizzling a little bit more, drizzling a little bit harder, and then it really starts raining. And when it starts raining, all my friends did a different thing when it was raining. Like, I had one friend that did the turtle. Just walking and just trying to... And I get it, because he has some deep collarbones. He would have had 2 lakes on either side of his neck if he had just let the water hit. That would have been 2 puddles he had to carry. So I understand him trying to... Then I had another friend who was over here doing this, which genuinely pissed me off. That's one of the craziest things I've seen. You have 2 hands, one hand covering some of your head, but not even efficiently. Where's the distance management here? You'd be better putting the hand on your head. Then I had another friend who just decided to lean forward, because I guess he just doesn't want a wet front. He's just cool with it all hitting the back. And as it's raining and raining, my friend was over here doing this, turns to me, because I'm just walking. I'm not doing any of this. I'm just walking normal. And they're like, oh, John, you must not mind the rain. And I was like, I almost drowned 20 minutes ago. And that's what it's like when you're broke. You're almost drowning all the time. So when people try to scare you with talks of a recession, you're like, why would I? What? You're doing this. I'm already wet. And the way to ensure that you're going to be okay, the way to ensure that your family is going to be okay, is by creating chains, by linking up together with other people, with other families. Because the way forward, your future, I guarantee you, it's not in the market. There's a belief that, like, if I can just get enough ahead, maybe I'll pull some other people with me. And that sort of thinking is the reason that we as the people can be taken advantage of so easily when it comes to money. It's like, I can get you a little bit ahead. Oh, I'd like to be a little bit ahead, right? But the way forward, your future, I promise you, it's in your neighbor. I promise you, there's no one that's going to take care of you like the people that are actually next to you. And it's kind of daunting to me. It does freak me out a little bit that there are so many people, every election, every year, no matter who's president, that expect the person in office to make them rich. don't you know this is America? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just not how it works. It's not how it's ever worked. You may like the person in office, you may not, but I guarantee you they're not gonna make you rich. That's not how anything works. And don't get me wrong, I've had dreams before. I had a hard time getting to know people, and I had a hard time communicating with people. I'm an only child, and my mom wanted me to have friends so I wouldn't be crazy. And so, as a single parent with one kid, my mom, the only thing she knew how to do was go ahead and take me over to her other single parents' friends' houses where they had one kid, and she was like, maybe y'all will just play and not be crazy together. And sure enough, there was a time in my life where my parents got back together, and so we were a two-income household, so I started to get the good toys, right? The real good toys. I'm talking WCW, NWO, wrestling toys, Sting, Goldberg, Kevin Nash. And sure enough, you know, I remember I got those toys. Those are some of my favorite toys in the world because I didn't know ankles had come out yet. I would hold up my Kevin Nash and I'd be like, bow, 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 bow. Look what he does. Bow, 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 bow. He had knees, he had ankles, he could do this. That's crazy. I was used to this only. Maybe if you were getting fancy, some of this, but I wasn't used to this. This thing right here, this is crazy. Real shoulder movement? My mind was blown. It's like, look at what this thing can do. Bow, 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 right? And so then my mom took me over to her friend's house, and her friend had a kid, and you know, I went ahead and brought over two of my toys. I brought my Kevin Nash and I brought my Sting because I'm trying to make a good impression. And so we're talking, they're talking, and finally we go to his room to play, and my mom leaves to go run some errands or something. And I quickly realized after my mom left that he was crazy. He was genuinely crazy because all of his toys, every single one of his toys, didn't have a face. None of his toys had faces. I don't know if he was chewing them or if he was burning them, but they were gone. And so he looked at my Sting toy and he was like, oh, we have the same one. And I was like, I don't see how that's possible. I don't see how that's possible. And then sure enough, this kid pulls out his Sting toy, and I know we have the same toy because the Sting had the jacket. The jacket you could put on, you could take off and everything. And so we're playing, and I'm trying to be a collaborative new friend, right? I'm like, what do you want to do? You want to do Legos? You want to do like wrestlers, whatever? And then we decide Legos. So I was like, do you want to build a castle? You want to build a wall? What do you want to do? So we decide to build a castle, right? And then this kid, we're halfway through the castle, maybe 100 pieces to go. And this kid grabs the castle, lifts it up, throws it against the wall. It explodes into like 190,000 pieces. And I'm like, what did you do that for? And he goes, don't talk to me. And I was like, oh man, yeah, chill Satan, chill, okay? Back up devil, okay? Because I had been prepared in case the situation happened, because I knew I wasn't a crazy only child, but I knew there were other crazy only children out there. So I already had my thing on me, right? I had that lance in my back pocket. I was like, don't you come near me. I will cut you open. This thing is 6 weeks old.
I have been absolutely obsessed. I don't know if you've heard, but there has been a viral Chase money glitch. Okay, if you haven't seen it, basically, someone on TikTok said that there was a money glitch at Chase where if you deposit a check for a large amount, an amount you don't have, it will let you withdraw the full amount that you just made up, right? And that is just check fraud. That's actually the plainest fraud you can do. To walk up to an ATM and be like, I'd like to lie, please. That's not legal at all. And so I saw the TikTok and I was like, uh-oh, I hope nobody does this. I hope nobody does. I hope not a single person does this. I hope no one does it because it's the worst type of fraud you can do. I hope nobody does this at all. And then I went to Twitter and 6,000 people had done it. Like, in the time that I saw it, there were already people who were like, yo, we out here living. And watching people you don't know commit fraud is like watching your uncle wear a suit he thinks he can pull off. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, no, not in front of everyone, not in front of everyone. Because that's what it was. It was in front of everyone. They not only did the check fraud, but they all made videos, which is how I was watching. This wasn't a rumor. I was like, that's a high definition camera that you are committing crimes in right now. I am so, man, the jails will be full. That's a lot. Because, you know, they were playing with money that they didn't really have, and they were spending it on things they shouldn't have been spending it on. And so, you know I'm not the first person to say this. I'm late when it comes to saying this, but I need to say it just to reiterate one more time in case anybody doesn't understand why check fraud is a very, very bad idea. They went to Chase Bank, right? And then they wrote their name all over a check. And then they went to their bank, which was Chase Bank, with their name on that check, and then put that fake money into their account, which your bank account has every number that makes you identifiable. Like, your bank has your address, it has your social security number, it has the numbers of places you used to live. Like, they have so much information about you. Chase might as well just go to the police station and be like, we need to make a few printouts. And so people were doing the check fraud, but then this is the other thing. This is what happened. This is why people started doing it, right? Basically, the glitch, as people were calling it, some of it was just straight up check fraud because they will give you a portion of the check because they haven't verified the check yet, but it's law that they have to make a portion available immediately, right? And so there was a mistake for maybe, who knows, 10 minutes, an hour, where someone put in a check and it gave them the full amount immediately. It did not do that for most people. Most people got a portion. So when you see them throwing money, they definitely had to pick it up right after. Like, it's like... Don't let the internet lie to you. Like, they threw that money for the video and then they were like, oh God, I always, whenever I see stuff like that, I always think to myself, like, y'all didn't factor in the wind at all. Like, you balling for these next 3 seconds, but as soon as there's a gust, you're gonna be running into traffic, screaming, no! And so basically, there was that side of the glitch. Another side of the glitch was that there were people who were also requesting loans, like pretty high loans, And the loans were also appearing, for some reason, appearing in their bank account in full, even though all the money wasn't available, right? So that part is a mistake on Chase's part on the website. But what's actually happening when they were withdrawing the money was just a little bit was coming out. That little bit was just a portion of a bigger amount, right? But then Chase caught on pretty quick because they posted it to the internet, right? Which is where Chase also is. If Chase was one of these mom and pop banks where mom worked the teller and dad was the personal banker, maybe they would have gotten away with it for quite a while. But because Chase is also on the internet, Chase saw the mistake they were supposedly making. They corrected it immediately. They put a 7-day hold on people's accounts that were affected by this activity, right? But then, because they never had the money and because they already withdrew some of the money, they were getting negative balances as high as $72,000, right? Which at negative red $72,000, I think I'm just gonna change my name. That's when you open your bank account and you go, whose bank account is this? I don't know him at all. I am moving. But this is why you shouldn't let the internet lie to you, not just because they give bad advice with no repercussions, but also because there were people that were faking it. There are people that were faking the glitch, literally just to go viral. There were people who were going to the ATM, withdrawing their real money, not doing the scam, then throwing the money in the air for the video, and then immediately being like, y'all, help me. There were even people who were pretending, using other people's screenshots, pretending that they also had a negative $48,000 balance. And it was all just for attention. And it's so important to remember that. It's important to remember that half of the internet is for attention. Almost none of this is real. I could be AI. None of this is real. And so when you take things that are fun on the internet and you bring them into the real world, you could screw up your entire life, because check fraud is so much a felony. Check fraud is one of those felonies that someone does that's not even a dangerous person. It's just you'll be like, man, where is Cousin Willie? I have not seen him at the last 3 Thanksgivings. And then your grandma go, okay, so Willie, he got into a little bit of trouble at Bank of America. It was a misunderstanding with her. Because grandmas always try to make you seem less of a criminal. Grandma, you commit a crime and grandma be like, he had an accident. It was an accident. He is a sweet child. It was an accident because basically he got a little argument with one of his friends, and then he fell, because they were pushing each other. Then he fell on his friend, but he had just been holding a knife at the time. That's why we praying for him to get out, because I know his spirit. I know my baby, and my baby would never stab someone to death. My baby, how the police know he wasn't trying to get the knife out? You know what I mean? That's why it went in so many times, because it kept slipping in, and he kept pulling it out. Why didn't they ask why that man's body was magnetic? Why didn't they do that? My baby ain't no murderer. You do check fraud. Your grandma's like, that's not even his handwriting. But grandma, is his name at his bank put into his account. And they just came and got him. Yeah, but I don't know. When a grandma really has nothing for you, when you did it so hard, when you did it in front of her, that's when she's like, I don't know. Because at the end of the day, the one thing a grandma is not is a snitch. Grandmas... Okay. All right. So back in the day, so I grew up in Louisiana, right? And back in the day, we weren't friends, but I knew this kid, and he was like, this kid in my neighborhood was getting arrested, and it was a whole big scene because, like, basically, I don't know what he was getting arrested for, but the police thought that they needed 18 of them. Like, it was, I don't know what he did, but everybody showed up, if nothing else, just to watch. Like, that's... And that dude's grandma came outside screaming like, he didn't do it. Typical grandma. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. And then she tried to fake a heart attack. I was like, damn, grandma a G right here. That's probably what G stands for if you go back all the way. She was like, don't take my baby, don't take, oh no, my heart. And you could tell she was faking it too because she like really planned the fall. Like the fall, because she knew she couldn't just fall however she wanted to fall. She may never get up again. So she was in her little nightgown and everything, looking for a soft spot on the ground. Oh no, not my baby, my heart. Ugh. I just can't stress it enough. Please do not do wire or check fraud. It's like, it's so easy to not do. We're all not doing it right now. And I don't want to, look, I'm not coming from some holier than thou place either. I understand crime. I understand why people do crime. Like if you've ever been broke, you get crime. Crime makes so much sense if you're broke. I don't understand when rich people do crime because they already have things. Do you know what I mean? If you do crime as a rich person, you're really doing it for the love of the game. If you are a multi-millionaire and you embezzle hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're doing it for chips. Like this isn't, you just felt like being bad or something, trying to spice up your life. A poor person doing a crime makes so much sense. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. That's a thing. I'd like to have it. Simple math, you know? I've been hungry. You hungry? Man, I wish I had something to eat. But on this planet, in this country, we trade money for things to eat. And I don't have any of that. So I guess I just won't eat. And then you don't eat for long enough that you're like, damn, the food is right there. You know what? Today's the day. I'm gonna do a crime. And then you grab an apple or something, and then, you know, grocer sees you, and you try to run, but you can't because you don't have any energy. So you get caught, and it's all very sad because you get charged with theft, but you took it because you were hungry. Like, crime when you're broke makes sense, you know? We don't like it, but it's true. It just does. And it's weird because it's like, Chase isn't... Chase... This is what bothers me about the whole thing. It was dumb of these people to do it. But to do it to Chase is like weirdly full circle. Chase got bailed out in 2008 for about $12 billion. And they needed those $12 billion because they were playing with money that wasn't theirs, and they were... They made the video, it just didn't go viral, you know what I mean? So it just, I don't know, there's a deep irony in that like, you know, one of the major powerhouses, probably the biggest bank in the country that contributed to near financial collapse, is gonna go ahead and get theirs back from some of the people that they made poor. It's pretty harrowing, you know? But every single one, I don't care if you were a kid, if you were grown, there was a line, by the way. There was a line at the Chase ATM, so a lot of people were doing this at once. There was such a long line. Okay, I didn't know about the scam until late. I am late when it comes to everybody doing this. It's already over, and Chase has like settled it, and they're probably gonna go get their money back. But I was in line one of the days, and I don't look like I wouldn't do it. I'm standing in line like, come on now. Line's never been this long before. That guy's throwing money. That's irresponsible. No. It's just, you know, you should know. I don't care your age. I don't care if it was on the internet or if it was a rumor you heard in real life. You should know that you cannot just take money that's not yours as a poor person. If you want to steal millions of dollars, you need to already have millions of dollars. There is a Chase money glitch. It just only benefits Chase. You know, the only people who can just print money with absolutely no consequence are the Federal Reserve. Everyone else has to deal with it. That's a tough one. It really is. Because I think about how some people are like actually in real like felony trouble. I don't know what I would do if I committed a felony, but I was just joking. This is a terrible predicament to be in. Some of these people are like 20, you know? They're like, guys, I don't know, I just wrote too many zeros, my bad. The only one of these scams that I really thought was like funny and was really rooting for the people on was that DoorDash one. I don't know if you saw this, but basically there was just like this DoorDash scam that was essentially the same thing. It was kind of tied to a Cash App scam. There are a lot of scams if you pay attention. It is crazy how much we're doing them now, how much we're doing like wire and check fraud. Like we, as Americans, we have become the Nigerian princes of the world. Like we like. Because I know Nigerians. I know Nigerians from Nigeria. And they are like, what is happening over there? Do you need us to send you something? Like, y'all are down bad as a people and as a country. This is hard to watch. But basically, there was like a DoorDash scam / Cash App scam where basically Cash App was letting you, it was basically letting you have a balance without pulling it from your bank. So then people were saying that they had enormous amounts of money, right? But then weren't able to pull it out. Like they weren't able to transfer this imaginary money to their bank. Thank God they weren't able to do wire fraud, but like they weren't able to send it. But what they could do is, as long as a full transaction was online and they linked it somewhere else, they could pay for things online with this fake money, right? And so what a lot of people would do was use their Cash App fake money to get stuff on DoorDash, which feels like the most fulfilling of the scams, because like, you can make me pay back money, but you can't take the burritos out of me. You know what I mean? Like when the police come, I'm gonna be full, all right? And when they put me in the car, that car's suspension will be in trouble. I had the opportunity not too long ago to really be a hero. Like, you know, you don't know when your hero moments are gonna come. They just show up, and then you act like the person you are in that moment. And I had the opportunity to be a hero, and I didn't take it. I looked that moment in the face. I was like, you must be looking at somebody else. I don't know what to tell you. This is bad. Basically, I was at a friend's house, and while I was there, some other people basically broke out into a fight, and like a real fight. We're not arguing. No one's talking anymore. Fists going and everything. And there was a moment where I could see a gap. I could see a pocket where I could have broke it up. And breaking up a fight is a very precarious position to put yourself in, because most fights that you want to break up, especially if it's two people, if it's three, it's gone too far. You know? You're not going to be able to double dutch that one. You know what I mean? But two, you wait for a moment where they're like both tired, or they're trying to wrestle, or, you know, they're backing up to like get started to fight. You know, that little back up hop step. This is usually, okay, when someone doesn't really know how to fight, they do too much prep for the fight. You know what I mean? Like there was, okay, I know I'm digressing to digress, but basically one time in high school, there were these two kids that were about to fight, and I didn't even bother trying to break it up because one kid stretched. And I was like, nobody that's really about to beat you down goes, oh, okay, you about to get it. You just give me a second. I'll be over there in a minute. You just. And so, said all that to say that, you know, there was this moment where they were backing up, and one of them, you could tell he couldn't really fight because his hop, when he was backing up to prep, looked weird, right? Because he didn't hop like, you know, like if somebody can really box, or if they've got like some movement, some footwork, they have the little hop. This dude went, okay, then here it is then. This man wanted to fight so bad, but just had to step on 1,000 roaches first. Like, in what world is this getting you ready? You look like you've already been hitting your cerebellum when you move like that. But anyway, they get to fighting, right? And I could have jumped in, but I was like, you know what? No. Because when you jump in to stop this fight, you need to be bigger than both people, right? The way you jump in and stop a fight, usually it's hand first, like you get the hand in there, so that's the warning. Hey, stop swinging. Somebody else here. You might not hit you might not hit him, you might hit me. Hey, right? And then you put your body in between the two of them. And the idea is that your body will be big enough that they're like, I want to punch, but there's too much to get around. And that isn't the case with me, you know what I mean? Like I can't. I want to jump in and stop the fight, like a principal, just like, hey now. Okay, so, all right. I did see, okay, so years ago when I was in high school, I went with a friend to pick another friend up because all three of us went to different high schools, right? And so he could drive first, so he picked me up after school, and then we went to pick up our other friend. Now, our other friend was waiting outside of the school, but a fight had also, a few feet away, had also broken out at the school, and the principal did this exact thing, like, hey now, and you could tell he doesn't want to get in there because the hey nows were too frequent. Like this man, hey now. But he stopped the fight because he was just being too big for both those boys to get at each other, right? And I don't have that. Like if I jump in, I will catch a stray. Like I'm gonna walk right into a fence. Brothers, please. And so then the fight breaks out, and the guy that I thought couldn't fight, it turns out he can fight if he keeps the fight weird, right? Because in fighting, in hand-to-hand combat, in battle, right, you use what you have. You use your hands, fists, elbows, knees, shins, foot, everything that you can. If you wrestle them to the ground using your weight, using leverage, there's just lots of going on with your body when it comes to a fight. But what I've never seen, and I watch fighting, I watch combat sports, I like watching boxing, I like watching kickboxing. I've seen people who can kickbox in real life in like a street fight. I've seen people who can box in real life in a street fight. I've seen people use their knees, like Muay Thai moves, elbows, all that stuff. I've never seen somebody who just grabs. It is harrowing to watch. Because my man is over here trying to like fight, like he's fighting, right? And he's like punching and kneeing and kicking and everything like that. And the other dude, anytime he get close, he's just like, So now this dude punching while also being hella uncomfortable. Like you can see where he's like, hey, when's this cross over into a different type of assault? Do you know what I mean? Because like because at one point the dude was trying to dodge a punch and then like grab, and I think he thought he was doing kung fu. Because you've seen the movies where they're like, ha, and then like just Black Panthering you up, you know what I mean? This dude at one point went to dodge a punch, but clearly, we could all see it, clearly grabbed the inner thigh of the dude he was fighting. And you see that dude miss with his punch, but also be like, and so they're fighting and they're fighting and they're fighting. And then there's one point where, the dude who really knows how to fight pushed the grabber away. Because I think he just needed a break. Imagine you beating somebody's ass and they're still like, it's devastating. And so then I realized that I made the right decision, not because I didn't want to be grabbed, but also I knew I made the right decision because when they re-engaged, the dude who knew how to fight, okay, I shouldn't laugh, but all right. I knew I made the right decision when the dude that knew how to fight threw a microwave, right? And I think, okay, this is what I think happened in my mind, right? No one even saw him with a microwave. We didn't know where the microwave came from. You know what I mean? And I think we were distracted because when he pushed the grabber off, the grabber was ready. He was still like had energy, even though he had lumps all over him and everything. And he was just standing like. And I'm not even kidding. At one point, I guess when he thought the fight was about to kick back off, we were all looking at his hand, and he went, here. Like, and that must have been when old boy grabbed the microwave, because we were all like, it's weird. And there's a thing about when you're in hand-to-hand combat and you're losing, that's usually when someone reaches for a weapon, but the weapons normally make sense. I'm losing a fight. I'm in a home. I'm gonna grab something that's gonna give me a mechanical advantage, like a hammer or a knife. You know what I mean? Like, I love, one of my favorite things in the world, I've only seen it like twice ever, but one of my favorite things of all time is when somebody in a fight and they hit somebody with a book. Because it's literally poetic. When you hit someone with a book, it makes it feel like the book is in on the fight, right? Like if we're fighting and then I hit you with some James Baldwin, I'm giving you culture, right? I'm educating you. Somebody being dumb, you hit them with an encyclopedia. Read, you know? Somebody talking crazy, you hit them with a dictionary. You're literally giving them better words to use. But the thing about a microwave is that when it's coming at you in the air, it's all corners. When a microwave is hurtling towards your head, it's nothing but angles, all right? You would think it was a diamond, the way that it moves through the air. I guess I'd never seen one fly before, so I was like, wow, right? And so then, the best you can hope for, if you can't catch the microwave, if it's coming at you too fast and spinning too hard for you to dodge or stop it, is to just get hit with a flat surface, right? The best case scenario is that you get hit with a microwave that's coming at you door first, like a window. That feels like it has the most give to it. But that didn't happen at all. This dude threw the microwave at the grabber, and that dude got hit in the head with the popcorn button. And I've never seen a person shut off faster, right? Like, this dude caught a microwave in the head, and you just saw him go, like, I've never seen someone go limp that fast, right? We were all standing there like, I think he dead. Like, the only reason we knew he wasn't dead is that finally, after like 30 seconds, which 30 seconds when you think you're looking at a dead body is forever. When you think that somehow you might go to jail too, you've been looking at that body all day. But he was clearly like down for 30 seconds, and then we just saw him be like, oh. He's fine.